Have you ever been in a conversation treadmill that didn't go anywhere? That was me. I was trying to complete a vendor process on my client's platform and I got stuck. So I wrote to Daniel, the support guy, and that's where the treadmill started. Because you see, Daniel would answer my email, but he didn't answer my question. I would send him a screenshot and he would send me a manual I already had. And I noticed he didn't have a phone number on his email signature. And 2 weeks later, I'm still stuck. Does this kind of interaction sound familiar to any of you? Yeah, I see you, Sandy. Well, it's very interesting to see that miscommunication is something that is costing companies and their customers big time. A Harris poll showed that companies waste around $12,000 per employee per year on poor communication. Just to give an idea, that's about 8 hours a week wasted. Okay, now part of the problem is that many people struggle with finding the right channel, with an over-reliance on written communication, as we can see in my story. But another part of the problem is people struggling to find the right approach. And many of the leaders that I coach tell me, Maria, how do I say no without alienating people? Or how do I give feedback without demoralizing someone? And I get it, because communication can be tricky. I know because as a third culture kid, I lived across different countries and attended 7 different schools by the time I was 18 in various languages. That meant I was a new kid every couple of years, making mistakes right and left, from greeting people to using an innocuous word that turned out to be a very rude profanity, and then having to fix it. If there's one thing I learned was that what may work in one situation may not work in the other. But ultimately, it's very important to be able to observe and adjust. These skills became vital to me. And these are the skills that I teach and coach my clients in so that teams and leaders can untangle those communication challenges to get things done. Now, one of the things that I decided to do to help them out was develop a model that I call the CLEAR model. It stands for conveying context, listening, empathizing, adjusting, and reframing. Now, I know it's a clever acronym, but more than that, I realized that after hearing the same challenges over and over, whether it was on persuasion or conflict management or feedback, many of those same elements could be used for these same challenges. So let me walk you through it. Let's start with the C, convey context. This has to do with starting with the why, but more than that, having the courtesy of sharing with someone your reasoning. If you do that, it's much more probable that they'll want to align with you. So for example, I was working with Laura, one of the managers I was coaching, and she needed to get buy-in for her team to apply a new process. She started out by saying something like, team, this current process is really cumbersome. We need to save time. That's why we're migrating to this new process. If you notice, she's getting ahead of the but why question, and it makes it easier for people to understand that. Now, it's not enough. It's also important to be able to listen and empathize, because if there is any kind of pushback, this will help you be able to understand the underlying issue by asking open-ended questions. So Laura asked her team, what specifically about this process do you find difficult? Turns out it wasn't even the process. It was the idea that it might not be worth it to invest time in learning yet a new process. That changes things, because now, armed with new information from listening and empathizing, you're ready to adjust and reframe your message. And Laura was able to adapt it to her team's needs. This is about making it more palatable, showing what's in it for you. So Lauda said something like, right now our process is taking us about 20 hours as a team. It took me 2 hours to learn the process, but it decreased the number of errors by 95%. That'll mean less rework for us and less stress and all that time back in our hands. She got the buy-in and the alignment she needed. That's the power of clear. Now, remember my guy, Daniel? I was able to get him to talk to me by using this methodology. And in 10 minutes, we solved what we hadn't been able to solve in 2 weeks. And I'll tell you something, the future belongs to leaders who are able to untangle those communication knots, because technical skills are important, but it's those interpersonal skills that get your team moving along. The way that you solve a conflict before it escalates or give feedback will have a direct impact on how your team trusts each other, collaborates, and performs. Because when communication flows, so does productivity. I encourage you to be clear, convey context, listen and empathize, adjust and reframe. You'll be surprised at how much this will help and make your life easier. Because every conversation should be an opportunity to promote trust and collaboration. Let's get clear.